Okay, so House of the Dragon Season 1 was an absolute ride. From the moment they announced the show, I was skeptic from the very beginning, given that we were coming up the god-awful Season 8 of Game of Thrones. But it was set 200 years before the events of the previous show, so that gave me a little hope. It was separate enough that it was gonna be its own thing, isolated enough for it not to have that many ties to the original show. It was separate enough to feel like its own thing. And all of my doubts, every single question I had about the show was cleared and eradicated in episode 1. This show opened up so strong with such confidence, it grabbed us by the hand and he said, "Don't be afraid, hey, come with me. Don't be afraid, I'm not like that other guy. Here, trust me." So we get reintroduced back into Westeros with an entirely different cast of characters, mostly Targaryens, fighting to see who keeps the throne. Apparently that's the only reason of existence in this world. Some are legit, some are bastards, but all of them look absolutely amazing. Apparently the Targaryen gene is off the hook with good looks. Maybe it's just the incest, I don't know. But seriously though, this show exploits all the aspects that make Game of Thrones great to begin with. Slowly, masterfully done character development, rich world building, and deliciously devilish political plotting and scheming, and that theme song. Woo! That theme song slaps, and it's back, baby, with a vengeance. Play it. Now I tried to watch this without comparing it to its predecessor, but this is basically Game of Thrones 2.0, so it was kinda hard to do. This feels so much more focused though than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was a little bit more all over the place. This show is mainly just about this family, and it felt in a lot of ways like Succession, another amazing HBO show. It felt like Succession in Westeros. It would be cool though for the show in its entirety to span the 200-year gap between this show and Game of Thrones, so it kind of ties it all in a seamless way. It could end up with Robert's rebellion and showing how the Targaryen dynasty just fell. Also, the casting in this was absolutely stellar. Given that they had to recast half of the cast with older versions of themselves, it was uncanny how well they did a job of casting older versions of the younger characters. It really did feel like the same people over the years. Although it took a little while to acclimate to some of the characters looking older but being younger than other characters, especially this motherfucker. He looks like he's 40 years old, and in the story he's supposed to be like 16. What's up with that? Aemond aged 30 years in 10 years, but Kristen Cole looked 20 forever. So yeah, that was kind of hard to get accustomed to. That was kind of weird. Also here, Paddy Considine as Viserys Targaryen, as King Viserys, stole the entire show for me. At the beginning, I really didn't like his character that much. I didn't like the decisions he made, but as the show went on, I started to like him more and more. He genuinely just wanted his family to get along. He is the Ned Stark of this show, and he became my favorite character. He was fantastic, and he had to basically act out every stage of this guy's life, in health and sickness, and it was such a nuanced performance. I was eating it up. I loved every second of it. Also, Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen was just a badass. He had just this suave, devil-may-care attitude that made every girl with daddy issues wet her panties on the internet. Like, seriously, guys, he's not a good guy. His dynamic with every character on the show was interesting, especially with Rhaenyra and Viserys. So yeah, he was probably the most morally complex and interesting character in the entire show, and Matt Smith just gave him this just extra oomph of personality. Apparently the second season for this is not gonna come out until like 2024? That's borderline a crime. Seriously, what the fuck is going on? What if I die before that point? Huh? Ever think about that, HBO? And of course, I can't talk about this show without mentioning the dragons. There's been a lot of upgrading and improving the dragons visually and stylistically. I loved every second they were on screen, especially Vhagar. Vhagar was essentially a kaiju dragon. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Look at it. Could make Godzilla piss her pants. That's what I'm saying. Overall, this show managed to turn me around on the Game of Thrones universe. Something that I thought to be impossible. I am 100% back on board for this, but there's this little voice in the back of my head that keeps going, Bran's gonna be king. Bran's gonna be king. There's nothing you can do to change that. Bran's king. That will forever haunt me. I don't know how to feel about that. Anyways, those are my thoughts on House of the Dragon. Have you guys been able to watch this show? It's already out on Blu-ray and 4K. Took me a while to get to this one, but yeah, I'm here. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Remember to follow me on Instagram at caffeine.prince98 and on TikTok at NJUltraFlickShow. I don't have Twitter because I hate it, and Facebook is for the memes. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.